Today I'm going to be reviewing the Core Nyx dress, catching you all up with my exciting weekend away with fellow sewists and a few other little pattern reviews as well. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Vanessa and this is my channel Solely Rask. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. As you can see, I'm in a slightly different setting today, and I hope you don't mind me bringing you out here into my garden. Reason being, it is such a beautiful sunny day here on the west coast of England. We have had the most amazing 2 weeks of sunshine, very not normal weather for this time of year, and it's the children's Easter holidays here in the UK, and it's very rare that we get sunshine for that, so this is a big bonus for families with children. I'm out here today rather than up in my sewing room, which is where I actually should be because I have a lot of deadlines for sewing things, but it's just too beautiful a day to be inside, and I will show you later, but down here both of my dogs are lying basking in the sun, but as soon as I go back inside they follow me, so I didn't have the heart to go back and them not be able to be out here in the garden, but I'll give you a little bit of footage of them later. If you hear any background noise of a little bit of panting, it is because it is quite warm for them, and no, that's silly, they don't go back in on their own for a drink. You'll hear the birds cheeping, and you might hear just some little noises round about. So what have I been up to? Well, it's been a really busy week for me. As you know, I was going to the gathering over in Cleckheaton, just south of Bradford, on Saturday, and it was just a beautiful day. Drove myself down on the Saturday, sort of at lunchtime, and just enjoyed the drive. My wonderful sat nav got me absolutely to the parking space in the hotel I was staying at. I'm going to pop a little bit of video footage at the end of a little bit of before and during, so you can see that, so please hold on to the end to see that. But yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. Once I'd got myself dressed and popped down to the foyer of the hotel waiting for the taxi to arrive, a few people popped in, and it was obvious by the way I was dressed that I was going somewhere, and people recognising what I was wearing knew that I was probably going to the same place as them. So before I'd even gotten to the venue, I'd already met about 5 people who were also going there. Some people had recognised me from YouTube, which was a really nice experience. Others recognised me as following me and me following them on Instagram. So it was a really friendly environment and atmosphere before we even got there. We shared a taxi, popped along, and the evening was just lovely. There was probably like maybe 50-60 people there. Quite a lot of me-maids, but not everybody was wearing me-maids, and the whole thing about the gathering is that it's not essential. It's not like frocktails where you have to make an elaborate dress. It was for you to be comfortable, and it was, as it was, a gathering. It was sewists meeting up, getting a chance to interact with each other, make new connections, new friendships, and that's exactly what it was. I met so many of my on-screen idols from YouTube and Instagram. There were a few sewing bee sewists there, which I embarrassingly didn't realise. I knew these people, and I was lovely chats with them, and it wasn't until after that I realised why I remember them so well. But they were so gracious and just utterly lovely, friendly people. And as one particular one, Janet, said, "No ego here. I'm just Janet, and I'm just here as a sewist." And so it was such a nice, and for me, a really good experience to get myself there and meet up with lots of people. I also met up with Christine, the Gemini Stitcher, and I'll pop a little bit of video at the end of that as well. Now, I do know Christine from before. I've been to some of her sewing socials that she runs in Lancashire, and she was there with her best mate Steph, and I've met Steph at the sewing socials as well. So it was nice to see people that I had seen before, and you know, to meet people that I've been following for some time on Instagram and YouTube. For the event, as you will see in the clips, and I might pop some in between, I might pop some at the end, depends on how I decide to edit this out. And as I said before, I decided to make the Core Nyx dress I'm saying a lot, aren't I? That's terrible. Stop it. Smacked hands. So I brought it out with me so you can see, but you'll obviously see me wearing it as well. But I thought if I bring it out, gosh, doesn't that look good in sunshine? And it was a beautiful sunny day for the event, and I do have some gorgeous pictures with the stunning golf course as a backdrop. So this was the dress I wore in this viscose fabric from Rainbow Fabrics that I got at Harrogate last year. And you can see the detail now that's in daylight. It's got a little bit of gather detail on the front yoke, a little elasticated waist. The buttons, now if you're squeamish, there is a little bit of a gap at the bottom. I suppose you could put the buttons over further to stop that, but there's quite a lot of ease in the bodice, so to be honest with you, that was never an issue. 3 tiers, all gathered, and the back has a gathered yoke as well. Nice big floaty sleeves with an elastic. I did the full length sleeves, but I generally kind of push them up about halfway between wrist and elbow. But this dress was an absolute delight to make and wear. Now I've got all my instructions with me so I don't forget any of the details. So for this I made a straight size 18, but from the 14 to 32 pattern range. The difference being is on the PDFs, not in the paper patterns, they only go 0-20, but in the PDF they have an extended size range now. So the 0 to 20 pattern range is based on a sewing or a dressmaker's B cup, and the 14 to 32 range is based on a D cup, and it gives you all of the information. If I show you this here, these are the charts. So when you take your measurements, they take everything into consideration and they explain it as well. So when you're making a bodice, dressmakers, designers will choose one of 2 blocks, generally speaking, a B block or a B cup block or a D cup block. What that is forget about whatever bra cup you wear. This is completely different. Okay, so if you're aware of this, forgive me for going over old ground. But if you're new to this might be quite interesting. So a B cup in dressmaking is a 2-inch or 5 centimeter difference between your high bust measurement and your full bust measurement. In a D cup, the difference between your high bust measurement and your bust measurement is 4 inches. They actually on this as well give it like A, B is 2, 3 is C, D is 4, E 5, 6, F, so on, so on, so on. So if you are particularly busty, or if you are coming out as a D cup or more, you're going to go for the 14 to 32 size range. Even if you're like a 16 or an 18, upsize to the next 14 to 32 size range pattern, because the cup size is bigger and it's giving you a bigger difference between your high bust and full bust. What I'm going to do is a separate vlog on measurements and explaining this in more detail, and I'm actually going to show you all those different measurement points as well. So I chose that. Now where my high bust and my measurements come out, my high bust is actually 109 centimeters, and on the 18 for this, the high bust is 107. So we're there or thereabouts. The full bust, me is 118, on the 18 is 117. Now this garment has an awful lot of ease in the design of the pattern. I think its finished measurement of the whole bodice cross is 150 centimeters, so there's plenty of ease. I chose to just do the straight 18. What I will do when I make this dress again, and I am absolutely making this dress again because it is fantastic, I love it to bits, is I am actually going to do, I'll still base it on the 18, but what I will do is a full bust adjustment, because what I found was, although it fitted, I did lose a little bit of length at the front because of my projection. I lost a little bit of, because obviously if you think about it, you're putting the fabric across, the further out you go, the higher up the fabric is going to finish. So I did find that where it finished on my waist, I just wanted it to drop probably about 2 inches, which actually is probably what I will get with a full bust adjustment. So I think I will try it again with a full bust adjustment, but it was absolutely fantastic as it was. The length is possibly slightly shorter than it should be, purely because of fabric constraints. I only had 4 or 4.5, I think 4 meters of this. It needed a bit more, so the bottom tier of this should be longer and wider. What I had to do, and what I did, was I just took the second tier, and where on this and on the pattern the second tier is 2 parts of the panel, I cut a third. I was able to cut a third and patch it together, so there isn't as much fullness on the final tier as there would be, and it's slightly shorter. But for me, because I'm only like about 5'4", not particularly tall, it fitted at a really, really nice length. So other things that might be quite nice to see now that I'm showing it properly, because I've worn it, the event's past, and I was happy to show. If I just turn it inside out a bit. So for the Nyx dress, and as I say, it's a very, very easy construction. Closet core instructions are always superb, and very, very pleasurable, make. Excuse me. It has a double face back yoke to enclose all of the raw edges and the gathering at the front. And then on the next section is bias binding, just for that little section, and then down the front to where the buttons. So there's no button bands, it's just the front bodice pieces have the bias binding running down the front section, which encloses all of the raw edges on the front and provides you with that stability for the buttons. What I particularly liked, and this is really good, when you attach the skirt to the bodice. Now, normally when you've got a gathered skirt, or if it's elasticated waist, you end up gathering it all in, attaching the waistband or whatever top to the bottom, and then you leave a 2-inch gap to put your elastic through. This is so clever. The construction, when you put the two front pieces together, they don't overlap, so they don't join. It's got a little gap here, so you don't have to leave gaps anywhere. You can just stitch the skirt right onto the bodice, overlock it, all done, and you have a natural opening for the waistband elastic, which is, I think it's a centimetre that I've got here. Might be slightly wider, but the other stuff that I had, the quality wasn't great, and it wasn't, the weight of the fabric wasn't holding it. And same on the sleeve cuff. You just, really easy, fold it back, elastic through. Lovely. A success. And if any of you have watched my previous vlog on the McCall's Aspen Lucky Likey, you knew I was needing a little dress success. And I hope when you see the video and the footage that I pop in at the end, you agree that this was a success. So on to the next thing that I had, which I was saying I was up to as well, is the Bestie Bag. Now let me double check so I don't misquote anybody, because I'm going to say Blackbird Fabrics, and I'm hoping it's on the pattern, because if I get this wrong, and it isn't going to say, but it's BF Patterns, and I'm sure it's Blackbird Fabrics, but I will confirm that in the description below. So this was my first Bestie Bag, and as you can see, oh my goodness me, it's definitely shining there in the sunshine. This is a beautiful, now I know it's classed as gold, I would call this probably like old gold. It's not quite copper, it is a gold, but it's not that really bright yellowy gold that I was kind of hoping for, so it would go better with the boots that I wore that you'll see in the video. But this is a beautiful faux leather that I got from Jenny Stitches, and it's just gorgeous. It really is a beautiful, beautiful fabric. I've put my own little Lulu and Rask label on the front, and again, look Look at that fabric. This is, I actually got this in a D-stash. It's a Zandra Rhodes satin. Yeah, it's just pops the inside of the bag. Again, a really great set of instructions. The zips from Amazon, which is the one that quite a lot of people in the community are using. I picked that tip up from Alison from So Like Dotty, and I ordered some off the back of her. Second time I've used it. Great zips, great quality actually. And you get 10 for like £15 or something like that. I know the strap isn't perfect. I wanted to do like a webbing one, and although the sort of like the fabric does match, the green doesn't, and yeah, if I'd had something a bit zazzier, but it was a timing thing. If I'd thought about it, and I think if I'd made the bag before and knew how it was going to come out, I would probably have just put a couple of fabric end tabs with a little gold D-ring to hold it, and then I could have alternated straps and made lots of different ones. But you know what, is what it is. And yeah, it's a lovely bag to wear and use. Everybody says you don't need to do the top stitching, and I agree, and I would have loved to have not had to do the top stitching. So what you do is you top stitch all the way along the base from the edge to the edge. Now I had to with this because of the nature of it being the leatherette. It wasn't holding its shape. It was like clicking all over the place, and it wasn't going to look good. So I did have to do that top stitching, but it wasn't too bad. I managed. The last thing that I'm going to chat about is this little make that I've got on. And see, I might not be able to stand up properly and show you, but let's give it a try. So let me tell you about this. So this is the Ellie and Mac Miami wrap top, and this is the first pattern that I'm making up as part of my Ellie and Mac brand group rep position, status, whatever I want to call it. So every week Ellie and Mac promote certain patterns in their weekly sale, and as I've just joined as a brand ambassador, I didn't need to get involved so soon, but I just got so excited and I want to make all of the nice things. So I chose this one, which is the first one. This is not 100%. I got this in a D-stash last week from Emmy Sews, and it has got a bit of stretch. It probably doesn't have quite as much stretch as the pattern requires. I think it's like 50% four-way stretch. I know quite a lot of the Ellie and Mac patterns do, because it means that you don't have to worry about fitting so much. And as you can see, it could do with a little bit more stretch around these parts. But I've got to be honest, this doesn't bother me because I always wear, and particularly for work, I always wear Marks and Spencer's bodies underneath. I put my own underwear on under to give me the lift and support, and then it's just like a t-shirt body that just smooths everything out, keeps me decent at work, because sometimes I can be, on the floor in this kind of position doing shoes, or I can be stretching, steaming clothing, things like that. So I like to know that if I'm moving around, even if my wardrobe malfunctions, I'm still perfectly decent underneath, of which we can all be very thankful. So I don't mind that I get, like the show here. It does have options, and I will be honest with you, these I haven't done yet. It's not totally finished. I've got a little popper to put on the inside. Let me see if I can just discreetly explain that one. So as you can see, it's a wrap top. So the front wraps over, and at this point here, you attach a little popper just to the inside here that keeps this side in position, and then wrap it over, and the wrap side has a long tie. This short tie is attached on the side seam, and then you just cinch it in and you're done. This top comes with different sleeve options. There is this one is the flanked sleeve, and it's absolutely fantastic. All it is like a circle with an inner circle cut from it, the size of the arm side, so you get this beautiful floaty drape. There is an option to do a smaller layer on top as well, but again, because of fabric restrictions, I was only able to do one, but it is more than enough for me. There is what they call the peasant sleeve, which is slightly loose, drawn in with an elastic at the elbow, but no flounces. And then there is the massive, big, fluffy, frilly, absolutely everything sleeve. Comes fitted to the elbow, and then it has a bit like the flounce here. It has two or three big bell sleeve flounces. Very much think kind of like Spanish flamenco. For me, for work, I thought that was going to be too excessive, so I've just gone for this short sleeve version. And you know what? I absolutely love it, and I'm going to make more because I think it looks smart. And in this fabric, I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. I'll pop a link at the bottom of all of the patterns that I've used, so if you fancy trying any of them, you can click on the link and go and download the patterns there for yourself. All of them I will highly recommend. I know you've heard it from me so many times before, but I am a bigger girl, I am curvy, and I can definitely say these two patterns are incredibly flattering, fit friendly, flobbly bit friendly. So yeah, give them a look. But pop back and catch up with me in a little while, because I am going to be doing some up close and personal measurements, and maybe give you some confidence yourself on, you know, taking these measurements and feeling confident enough to take them. Because let's face it, ladies, we don't always like to measure ourselves, and particularly if we're not what we thought we were or thought we wanted to be. But if you want to improve the fit of your clothing, then the only way to get it right is to get an accurate measurement. Enjoy watching the footage that I'm popping at the end and the photographs, and I hope you have, you know, enjoyed joining me out here in the garden. Yeah, see you soon. Hi, back again. I'm all dressed up, ready to go. So just in case I don't get any footage later, I've just popped on to give you a little sneak peek of the outfit. Sorry if this is not in the best portrait horizontal, but it's just how I've had to prop it up. But let me give you a little twirl.